Hello, and how is everyone doing today? Today this will be my very first video, and this is actually in support of my fiance, and we decided to do a YouTube channel, which will, a lot of people do struggle with math problems, and so this channel will bring you a lot of problems in math solved. So you don't have to worry about it. You just have to watch our channel and subscribe, as well as like and share the video. Um, Subsequently, we will not bring you just math videos. We're gonna bring you other videos like chemistry, physics. Please do subscribe, like our videos, and share our videos. So our very first thing we will start with is a unit circle. With the unit circle, we all know the unit circle actually deals with quadrant. So you have the first, actually I'm just gonna draw the unit circle. That's a little bit better, but so what we'll do is we will divide it into 4 quadrants. A, S, T, C. It's all students take calculus. That's an easy way to remember how to get the quadrants, which A means all. It stands for both sine and cosine are positive, and if sine and cosine are positive, then tangent is definitely positive. Now S stands for sine, and if sine is the only positive in this quadrant, and T is tangent. Tangent is the only positive. So here sine is positive, but cosine is negative. Here tangent is positive. Now here is the C. C stands for cosine. Cosine is positive. If cosine is positive, sine will be negative, because we don't have any sign mentioned in cosine. So is cosine here in C, in the C quadrant, is positive, sine is negative. Now if C is positive, sine is negative, then tangent in this quadrant is negative. Why? Because tangent is sine over cosine. So if sine is positive, is negative, cosine is positive. Negative over positive is going to give you a negative. That's how we know. So let's start by putting whatever the values we need to put in here. The unit circle is being divided. There's a simple trick. You have 0 degrees, you have 30 degrees, you have 45, and you have 60 degrees. That works for everything. Now, this is what I mean. It's just an approximation, is not the actual value. So it's an approximation that I'm gonna put here. So this is 30. This is 45. 45 is exactly half of 90, and this is 60. Now watch. I did not put this. These segments are equal, but they're not equal to these 2 segments. These 2 segments are bigger to these segments. Why? Because from here to here is 15 degrees. From here to here is 15 degrees. And from here to here is 30 degrees. From 0 to 30 is 30 degrees. So we have a 0 here. We're just going to put a 0. Or, yeah, let's put a 0. Or, from here you go a circle, and we reach here is a 360. So you can put 0 or a 360. Now 0 to 360, that's the first, but this is in degrees. How can we do to change that into radian? Now the problem comes in. To change this into radian, I would like us to take that degrees, change to, right, that's change to pi, that's what I mean. So change to pi. So what we'll do is we take the degrees we have, which if in this case we have 0 degrees, we divide by 180 degrees. We'll always divide by 180, changing from degrees to radians, and we multiply by pi. Now 0 divided by 180 is 0. Good job. Now times pi is 0. So here is 2 is 0. So we can confidently cancel this. Instead of putting degrees, we put pi. We put 0, which is a 0 pi. Now here's 30. We have 30 degrees. Now how do we change 30 degrees to pi? We will have that degree that we are being given, 30, divide by 180, like I said, and we multiply by pi. Now recall, this degrees actually cancel. That's why we don't have any more degrees. 30 divided by 180. If we cancel, an easy way to cancel without using a calculator is a 0 cancels here, a 0 cancels here. A 3 cancels here one time, a 3 goes into 18 6 times. So definitely 1 times pi, it's going to give us a 1 pi, which is just pi. Now we divide by 6. And that's how we will write, instead of writing 30, we're going to write pi over 6. Pi over 6. Now that's the same as 30 degrees. We will do the same thing here, which is a 45 degrees. And we have a 45 degrees divided by 180 degrees times pi. Now a degrees here and degrees here cancel. We can divide this if we want to by saying 45 here one time. 45 into 180 is 4 times. So we have 1, because 45 into itself is 1, and divide by 4. So 1 times pi is equal to pi. We divide it by 4. That's why here, instead of putting 45, we'll put pi over 4. Now, do me a favor, pause the video here and then put those values, and then come back to the video and see how you did. I'm just gonna fast forward and give you the values. That's a recap. To get from degrees to radians is we take the degrees that we are being given. For example, 30 degrees, we were being given 30 degrees. We take 30 degrees and we divide by 180 degrees and times pi. Now we cancel, and we cancel the degree on both the degrees on 30 and on 180. Then we cancel 30 into 180 goes 6 times, and that's how we will come up with 1 times pi is pi over 6. So 30 degrees is pi over 6. 45 degrees is pi over 4. 60 degrees is pi over 3. And we go all around, we come to same thing. 300 degrees, 5 pi over 3. 315, 7 pi over 4. 330, 11 pi over 6. And 0 degrees is 0. Actually 0 pi. We don't have to put it. So we know, assuming that we have seen a unit circle before, we have the parentheses and some numbers in there, which we might be confused on how to get those numbers, and that's why we are here today. I'm just gonna show you how to get those numbers, and there is it's gonna be a whole another video for us to come up with those numbers, because you might see numbers like root 2 over 2, root 3 over 2, and 1 over 2, and you don't know how to come about that. We're gonna, if you really need another video to show you on how to come up with that, just comment down and we're gonna make another video on how you can easily get those values. What we need to know is, what is the cosine of 0? Because the reason why I start with cosine is cosine falls on the x-axis and sine falls on the y-axis. If you want to plot a graph, the x always comes before the y. So whatever value we are going to put here first is going to be the x value. So it's going to be cosine of 0, which is going to give us something. Okay, so cosine of 0 degrees, or cosine of 0 in radians, cosine of 0 pi, is going to give us 1. If you put it in your calculator, you're going to have it. You have a cosine of 0 is 1. And the sine of 0 is 0. Very simple. Cosine of 0 is 1, the sine of 0 is 0. I want us to put the main points first. This line comes this way, and 90 comes down to 270. So now if the cosine of 0 is 1, what is the cosine of 180? It's negative 1. So the cosine of 180 is negative 1. The cosine of 180, the sine of 180 is 0. Now we go up here, it's going to be a little bit different. Now we just switch these places of 0 and 1. So the cosine of 90 is 0. And the sine of 90 is 1. Now, we do the same thing that we did with 0 and 180, we do it with 90 and 270. We put a 0, like I said, a negative image, and we put a negative 1. Now, this is very easy to complete this, because now we will be working with 1, 2, and 3. And we'll be working with, either we put a square root sign on all of them or not, but we will be working with 1, 2, and 3. We might want to put a square root sign on all of them. On all the numerators, they have a square root sign. Now, we have 1. I want you to take 1 and put it to the rightmost side. Since it fell here on the left side, I want you to take it and put it on the right side. Start it on the right side. Take it all the way, it should be on the right side, all the way to 90. Stop there. Now, it should go on the left side from 90. So all the way on the outer side, in other words, on the outer side from the circle. So we have 1, and we're going to stop at 180. We have 1, 2, 3. We go to the other side. 1, 2, 3. Now, if this is 1, we switch the direction. Now, we're going to put it in this way. If we have 1, 2, 3, then this is going to be 1, 2, 3. So, what direction we have 1, 2, 3, we switch the direction the opposite way to 3, 2, 1. So we have 1, 2, 3. Now we have 3, 2, 1. Now we do the same thing this way. 3, 2, 1. Now all of these values you divide by 2. You have to divide by 2 because that's how it is. That's how we come up with it. So we divide by 2. Divide by 2, everything divide by 2. Now, except for the main points like 0, 90, 180, and 270. Put the square root of the numerator of every numerator you see. The square root of 1 is 1. We're just going to leave it that way. But the square root of 3, we don't know. So it's root 3 over 2. The square root of 2, we don't know. We know, but we cannot calculate that. We want to put them, leave them in radians. Square root of root 2, square root of 1 is 1. We leave it that way. Square root of 3, we do the same thing over and over. Now, when we are here, we started with, we put 1 on the outer side. Now, this way, we're going to put 1 on the inner side. So we're going to put 1, 2, and 3. Same thing this way. 1, 2, and 3. Then we switch the sides too as well. And we put, instead of 1, we put 3, 2, and 1. We do the same thing this way. 3, 2, and 1. Then we divide all by 2, and we put a square root on the numerator. So we divide by 2, put a square root on the numerator, it becomes root 3 over 2. We divide by 2, the square root on the numerator becomes root 1 over 2, which root 1 on 2 is 1 on 2. So we're going to do that for everything. Now I know the next question is, how do you come up with the negatives that you guys see on the unit circle? Now we're going to come into that, but the main point is you're already done with your unit circle. It's just to put in those negatives. Now remember when I started and I made mention of ASTC, that's all students take calculus. In other words, all sine, the tangent, and the cosine. Now in all A, everything here is positive, so you don't need to worry about putting a negative in any of those things. In the sine quadrant, we have sine. Only sine is positive. Only sine is positive. And where does sine fall? So sine actually falls on the right side as the y value. So if sine is the y value, we think everything to the right is going to be positive. But those on the left is going to be negative. So we have a negative 1 on 2, a negative root 2 over 2, and a negative root 3 on 2. That's how you get your negatives in that quadrant. We go to the tangent quadrant, and we said only tangent is positive. So which means that sine and cosine is negative. Sine and cosine is the only thing in here which it's a y, an x or a y. So the cosine here is going to be negative, the sine here is going to be negative. To make a tangent positive, a negative divided by negative is going to give you a positive. So everything here is going to be negative. Everything here is negative. We go to the cos quadrant. The cosine quadrant, the cosine is positive, and sine and tangent is negative. Now, if sine is negative, tangent is obviously negative. Or if one of them is negative, tangent is obviously negative. So cosine is positive, and cosine is the first value to the left. So it's the first value between x and y is the first value. So everything to the left is the cosine value, which is going to be positive. Then those to the right is going to be negative. So we put a negative on everything here to the right. So you have a negative half, a negative root 2 on 2, and a negative root 3 on 2. Now that's how easy you come up with the unit circle. If you have any question on the unit circle, you can leave a comment, and I will actually answer your questions to the best of my knowledge, or I'll do a research and give you an answer, a tangible answer in another video or direct contact. So that will be it, and we're gonna do more videos on how you come up with these things we see here, like root 3 on 2, root 2 over 2. We don't know where that comes from right now. Well, some people might know, some people might not know. Like I said, if you don't know and you need extra help on that, just comment, and we're gonna do another video for that. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe. Please subscribe to Algo Everyday Smarter, and please like our videos, share our videos, all the groups, all the social platform you find yourself in, or you find yourself on. Please help us help you. Thank you.